We have major breaking news coming in from Old Trafford from Manchester United on this Tuesday evening. Patrick Dorgu of Lecce to Manchester United. Here we go. We got that exclusive tweet from Fabrizio Romano about an hour ago confirming that Patrick Dorgu to Manchester United is here we go. Agreement is in place with Lecce. Documents are to be checked in the next 24 hours. Fee will be 30 million euros plus 5 million euros in add-ons, not guaranteed. Long-term contract agreed days ago with the player and first signing for Rúben Amorim. Obviously, Patrick Dorgu is a left back who is currently still at Lecce. Obviously, we've got that deal agreed with them tonight. He is another player from Serie A. That for me does really, really concern me, especially how the signings of Joshua Zirkzee and Rasmus Højlund have turned out so far in their Manchester United careers. Obviously, Dorgu is only 20 years of age. He's a full-time left-back international for his country, Denmark. Obviously, he is currently in a relegation battle with Lecce in Serie A this season. Obviously, Lecce lost their last game away to Inter Milan on last weekend's fixtures just gone. And obviously, it's been a position that Manchester United have been targeting for a long time. Obviously, we've had many, many problems at left back for so many seasons, especially last year where we had a major, major left back injury crisis where we did have Sergio Reguilon on loan from Tottenham. And last January in 2024, Manchester United decided to terminate the loan deal of Reguilon from Tottenham because of Shaw and Malasia's injury returns were going to be quite sooner returning than expected. And obviously, that was at the time a major, major boost for Manchester United, having Shaw and Malacia back in first team training and in connection for first team football. But obviously, since then, it went majorly, majorly downhill, where we went into again another injury crisis at left back. And obviously, we've had to go and spend money to go and get this left back. It is 35 million euros, which works out about 29.5 million in English pounds. So for me, it is quite an expensive signing. For me, it is a lot of money that we are chucking at a left back, but it is a position where we've had to go and buy one because we don't actually have a left back. We've been stuck with Diego Dalot under 2 whole seasons under Ten Hag, last season and this season and the season before that. And obviously, we ended up having to draft Rúben Amorim midway through a season where he really didn't want to come until the summer of this year in 2025. And obviously, the injuries to Shaw and Malacia are obviously that severe and are quite crucial for Manchester United ending up having to go and purchase a left back, because I think without a left back long term, it's only going to make Manchester United defensively worse, as well as going forward in an attacking sense. It's going to make that a lot worse for this football club as well. And obviously, like I've said, for me, it's a major, major worry that we are targeting again a Serie A player. Obviously, this has been the priority signing over Alvaro Fernandez, who we sold under Ten Hag, I think last summer. We sold him to Benfica and we put a release clause in his contract once he went to the Portuguese club. And obviously, there was rumours a few days ago that we were going to activate that release clause and bring Alvaro Fernandez back from his from his permanent transfer from Benfica, because obviously we've been over 2 weeks of negotiating with Lecce, trying to get their 40 million purchase price down, and we've managed to get that down to 35 million euros. So for me, I don't think it's that great negotiating. I don't think that is actually a great deal for Manchester United to only get 5 million off the current asking price. I wouldn't say that is exactly very good negotiating from Omar Barada and the current board under Ineos to only get 5 million euros off. For me, that smacks of pure desperation, that Manchester United in this moment have had to get desperate to bring a left back in because of the crisis we've got. And for me, I do feel like we've overpaid for this left back, who again is in a slower league, a less competitive league. And again, If you look what's happened to Xerxes and you look what's happened to Rasmus Højlund, that for me has got my alarm bells ringing that it's another Serie A player that we are bringing from a mid-table team who are fighting relegation from Serie A this season, and they got smacked up by Inter Milan at the weekend, and we're bringing in this player who hasn't got that Premier League experience, is only 20 years of age. Age is on his side in some benefits, but long-term vision, is this left-back really going to be the vision that Manchester United see in Patrick Dorgu? That's my big question I've got for this football club, because for me, in my view and in my opinion, this looks very desperate for a left-back that was probably fourth or fifth on the list of all the left-backs that Manchester United have looked at. I wouldn't have said Patrick Dorgu was the number one priority. I wouldn't have said Patrick Dorgu was the number one option. We had 3 or 4 other world-class left-backs ahead of him in that list. And I feel like for me, in my opinion and in my view, we have massively underlined the manager. I feel for me, we've not really backed him with the proper left-back that he really wanted. And we've ended up giving him option D or E. For me, at a top club like Manchester United, you should be aiming for your first choice option. You should be aiming for your first or second choice options at left back. Manchester United have had to go down that list because we have ended up getting desperate to bring this left back in, who really concerns me, that I don't think this is going to work. I will back the player. I will back this signing. But deep lying concerns to me are, if you're bringing in this player in, he's going to end up having to come in for first team football straight away due to the crisis that we've got currently at left back. And with this move for Dorgu, this is going to push Malacia out of the door at Manchester United. Again, another player we really shouldn't have gone for, a player that Manchester United should have went nowhere near, especially looking at the injury record Malacia had at Feyenoord, and Manchester United still gave the go-ahead to bring Malacia in when Ten Hag was in charge of this football club, because Ten Hag was desperately wanting Malacia, and Malacia and Ten Hag wouldn't give us a no. Manchester United end up having to get that player due down to the demands and the orders of what Erik Ten Hag wanted at that time to prioritise that left-back position. Has that worked? No, it hasn't. Malacia, unfortunately, has not worked. And again, that's on recruitment. That's on his injury record. And again, that should have been looked at when we made the signing, or even went ahead with it. Looking at all the injuries Malacia's had, why did Manchester United go and get him? For me, this has probably been put on by Erik Ten Hag, giving demands, giving orders to go and get this player. And they didn't look at his injury record, or didn't even bother to try and look at the evidence that was quite clearly in front of them, that Malacia's injuries were bad and they were that severe that was costing Malacia a lot of game time. And now all of a sudden, now we're bringing in Dorgu. It quite clearly shows Manchester United are trying to transition to get Malacia out of this football club sooner rather than later. My concern again with that, we are sending Malacia on loan. And the problem with that is, if we send Malacia on loan because Dorgu is now going to come through the door, my big issue and my big problem I've got with this deal, if you send Malacia on loan, he's going to end up performing really well for his loan club. They're going to bring him back and make him look like a new signing, and then they'll force Luke Shaw out the door, which should have been done way before now. Luke Shaw has never been the same player since he broke his leg in 2 places in that game in the Champions League group stage away to PSV when Louis van Gaal was in charge. Manchester United should have realised then, this leg break is severe. This leg break is going to impact Luke Shaw's career. They should have made a decision then and there. Obviously support the player through the injury and get him back to rehabilitation and back working his leg and regaining his power and regaining his fitness to repair the break that he did have. But Manchester United didn't grab the balls by the horn and realise this injury is so severe, it's going to cost Luke Shaw his career. And we should have made a decision then and then to terminate his contract or to force Luke Shaw out the door. I know we had to stand by the player at that time because the break was bad. But looking at it on hindsight now, that injury was so bad that Manchester United should have made a decision about his future at this football club. And we've kept him beyond his needs, really. Luke Shaw has been kept at this football club because of sentimental value. Luke Shaw has been kept because Manchester United thought he would be able to turn his career around. Luke Shaw hasn't been able to do that. Luke Shaw hasn't been able to regain his fitness at a level, at a consistent basis that Manchester United are looking for. And when he had that pin removed from his break in his leg, that pin was removed. And look how bad his injuries have been since then. Look at the amount of injuries he's had. Look how bad the injuries have been since he removed that pin. And again, for me, that is on Luke Shaw. He should have realised that pin is going to have to stay on my leg because the strength's never going to be there. The quality will never be there again in that leg because of how bad the break has had. He's gone through. That break was horrific. And really, in my view, we should not have been put in this position last season when we didn't have a left back. Man United idiotically sent Reguilon back, where Reguilon was match fit. He was straight into the first team and he was actually performing at better levels than what Malacia and Luke Shaw have ever done in their Manchester United career, in my opinion. Reguilon was sent back. Reguilon did nothing wrong. Reguilon should have been kept till the end of last season. Then we possibly could have kept him on a lower fee on a permanent transfer as a backup left back and still brought in a left back in January last year or even in the summer where Glazers and Ineos basically failed to back Ten Hag, back the manager, realising this injury crisis we got a left back is bad. We've got to go out and pursue a full-time permanent left back who's going to offer a full-term solution going forward for this football club. We're in this position where, in my opinion, and in my view, this is way too little, way too late. I will back this player and I will back this signing, but for me, it stinks of pure shit. I don't know a lot about Dorgu. I don't watch Serie A football. I don't watch the Italian league. For me, it's not a league that's really competitive enough. It's a league that only contains, for me, in my view, 3 or 4 giant Serie A teams. Napoli, Juventus, AC Milan and Inter Milan. I don't consider any of those other Serie A teams a threat. We've gone from the bottle of pile again to basically go and scrape the barrel to bring this left back in. We have scraped the barrel again, Manchester United fans. We have gone and got a left back that is young, versatile. His stats don't lie. He has done a lot for Lecce, especially in the position that they are in, considering in Serie A that they are going to fight relegation because Lecce, no disrespect, we have smashed their transfer record. We have smashed their transfer record for a fee for that club to receive that big amount of money in their entire football club history. So Manchester United have bent over. We have basically bent Lecce over. We've spanked them on the bum cheeks and we've basically given them quite good money for a left back where, in my view, we've got to start believing about what I've been telling you for ages. Money has never been an issue at this football club. Money is not a big problem. PSR is not an issue. Financial fair play is not an issue. Sell to buy is also not an issue. Man United have found 29.5 million. I would love to know where that money's come from because all we've heard throughout this whole January transfer window and in this month that financial fair play, sell to buy and PSR is a big problems for this football club. Based on the evidence today, based on this signing that we've made, the lies that we've been fed, the lies we've been told, and the brainwashing that Manchester United have clearly been doing to manipulate to the fans and the supporters of this football club, it's wrong, it's unacceptable, and it's quite frankly disgusting. For me, it's not acceptable because the lies Man United have come out with by this signing today, there clearly is money there. Money is there to be spent. Man United have got money to go and bring players in if they need to do it. And people will say, well, they've managed to get Anthony out the door. That's where the money's come from. For me, I completely disagree. Man United have had to go and probably borrow this money or loan it just to bring a left-back solution in so Manchester United actually have a left-back. And thank God we now have one. Thank God we do now have an actual left-back who is fit and ready to play. He will have to go straight into the first team. People will say he's not ready. He won't be able to make a first team impact. Unfortunately, I disagree with the majority of fans and supporters of this football club. He will have to go straight into the first team. Dorgu will be straight in at left back because we don't use Malacia. Malacia is injury prone, and how many games in a row in the last few matches has Malacia not seen first team football? How many matches has Malacia been on that bench and being left to rot? Because Rúben Amorim has figured Malacia out quite quickly in his Manchester United tenure as manager. It's not hard to see Rúben Amorim has figured out a lot of these players that Ten Hag, the board, the Glazers, and Ineos brought were clearly never going to be good enough. And Rúben Amorim has had to come into a pile of shit, dig all this shit out of the ground, get all this shit off its knees, bring them to a level that is so far okay for an acceptance, but long-term vision. They've had to bring Dorgu in now than rather wait to the summer, because what we've happened in the last few games, who's been at left wing back, who's been playing at left back, Dalot has been there for so many bloody games as a Manchester United player, where clearly Diego Dalot isn't a left back. Diego Dalot is not a left wing back. People need to realise Dalot should have never been brought by this club. Rúben Amorim never thought he would have to be put into a situation where, where's my left back? Well, Malacia and Shaw are injured, Rúben. So we've got no left back. So I'm basically stuck with Dalot. And no disrespect, the Diego Dalot fan club has gone very, very quiet in the last few weeks and in the last few months. It's because Diego Dalot has been massively, massively figured out. Diego Dalot should have never been brought by this football club. And when Ten Hag started to do it, and Rúben Amorim's had to do it to basically get by till January, we've ended up using Diego Dalot at left back, where Rúben Amorim doesn't want him at left back. Diego Dalot is not a left back. He is a right back and a right wing back. But we've had to put Dalot and Rúben Amorim in those positions because Manchester United don't have a left back. And now Dorgu is through the door and we've got this deal agreed. It's going to be a 5-year contract. So we are paying nearly 30 million for a left back. And again, that might be quite steep. For me, it's very, very steep. If Dorgu was linked to a Brentford or a Brighton or a Bournemouth, that price for them would be massively, massively reduced. There would be no way Manchester United should have been paying nearly £30 million for Dorgu. No way would I have paid 30 million for Dorgu. I would have rather have gone for the better options that Man United had on their list and go nearly 6th to 7th places down that list. And they turned up at Dorgu's door and turned up to Lecce, desperately getting on their hands and knees, praying, please let us have Dorgu. Please let us have Dorgu. We'll give you a good deal. We'll give you a good price. And Lecce have basically spanked Manchester United. Lecce have absolutely played us. They've absolutely played us there. And I don't think Lecce are going to be sat there miserable. I think Lecce are going to be sat there absolutely laughing their tits off that they've managed to get 30 million out of Manchester United for Dorgu. I think they're going to be laughing all the way to the bank, because that's probably going to give Lecce a better chance now of improving their team, improving their squad. And that 30 million will do a lot for them as a team to be able to be a consistent team now in Serie A. That money is going to help Lecce avoid the drop. That money will help Lecce avoid relegation, because Man United have been bent over. Lecce have absolutely embarrassed us, in my view. And I think, for me, it's not right that we've allowed these clubs to manipulate us and put us in this situation where this money could have been spent elsewhere. This money could have been spent on more better and experienced players going forward as a whole for Man United. Because I can guarantee you now, Dorgu wasn't number one. Dorgu wasn't number two. Dorgu wasn't number three. And I can categorically tell you now, Patrick Dorgu was not option number 4. There was 4 better options in that list of left backs that Man United wanted. Number 1 was Nuno Mendes. Number 2 was Alphonso Davies. Number 3 was Kirkes. Number 4 was Anton Robinson of Fulham. Patrick Dorgu is probably 5th to 7th place on the list of left backs that Manchester United were looking at. And Man United have had to go off one by the list thinking, PSG want 60 odd million for Nuno Mendes. There's no way we're going to pay that. Bournemouth want 50 to 60 million for Kirkes. There's no way we're paying that. Forget it. Anton Robinson, Fulham are going to want at least 30 to 40 million. We ain't paying that. So Alphonso Davies, Man United probably could have got for good money because he had 1 year left on his contract. And because Manchester United have been going backwards and forwards, trying to pick a left back that we should go for, Lecce have ended up becoming the only option that we could get for Patrick Dorgu. Patrick Dorgu's become the only reasonable option that we've been allowed to go and actually sign, get the deal done with Lecce, and we've been embarrassed because Man United had better options with a lot more quality, a lot more European experience, and a lot more experience going forward as a left back because a lot of those players have got a lot of European experience. PSG with Nuno Mendes and Liga 1. Kirkes, top 6 with Bournemouth in the Premier League. You've got Alphonso Davies, top of the Bundesliga with Bayern Munich. You've got Anton Robinson, near the top 10 of Fulham in the Premier League. And we've ended up going to Patrick Dorgu with Lecce from Serie A. And again, look at the money that's been spent on Xerxes. Look at the money that's been spent on Rasmus Højlund. We have spent in total 135 million on 2 strikers from Serie A who haven't worked at this football club, who aren't the answers to our goal-scoring problems. Man United bent over and paid 95 million for Rasmus Højlund and ended up paying 35 million for Joshua Xerxes from Bologna. And Atalanta and Bologna have been put in a much more stable financial position as a future Serie A club because they have laughed all the way to the bank with Man United's money because Atalanta probably couldn't believe the money they've got out of us for Højlund, and Bologna probably couldn't believe the money that they've got out of us for Xerxes. They probably sat there still laughing at us now because they can't believe Man United have been absolutely spanked. They've got ridiculous, stupid money out of the football club to buy both players, and both players, in hindsight, careers at United are absolutely drifting by the wayside because their goal-scoring efforts aren't there. Their goal-scoring has dried up. Both strikers are out of form. How many games have we gone now without Xerxes or Højlund contributing towards a goal, putting the ball in the back of the net? That is what Manchester United do if you panic buy. This is what Man United do if you end up having to go with last choice resources for your strikers' options. And Paul Tanner's put in the chat, is this new player good, mate? Again, I can't tell you that. I don't have the answers. I'm excited that we're bringing a new player in, but it's from Serie A. It's a Serie A player. And you just think to yourself, is this here we go again 3.0? Is there a situation where we are going to end up with egg on our face because of another Serie A basically burning bridges with another European English football club because a Serie A club have basically got ridiculous, stupid money for a player that, again, is probably highly rated at Lecce. But again, you have to look at some of the teams in that league. You have to look at Serie A as a whole. You've got 4 decent teams and the rest are basically shit. And no wonder, Lecce are being able to compete because if you look at Serie A, some of those teams are crap. You basically have 4 decent ones and the rest are basically dog shit. So I'm not surprised that Lecce have got this deal done because it's a record transfer for their club that's ever happened in their history now because Man United have ended up paying nearly 30 million. And I think for me, 30 million could have been spent better elsewhere by going getting a Kirkes, by going getting a Nuno Mendes. For me, those would have been my first 2 choices at left back for this football club. And we've clearly gone for option 6s and 7s. And I think for me, that speaks volumes of pure desperation from this football club again, because we've been left in a stupid position where we need a left back. We've needed a left back since January of last year and in the summer as well. And we've ended up having to find the money. And it shows. Money's there. So I want an apology to all Man United fans all Man United supporters for the lies and the manipulation that they have basically sold us. Financial fair play is a big problem. Sell to buy is a big problem. PSR were on the dreaded dotted line. Are we really? Are we really on that dotted line? Because I tell you now, you've spent 30 million on this left back and you're telling us we're in a bad financial shit. Clearly, there has been money after all. Clearly, Man United have got money. Well, I'm telling you now, if this is the left back they've believed in and they've put all their hope in, you're going to have to hope this works. Because if this left back starts getting found out and this left back doesn't work and is not comfortable with Premier League life and he gets massively exposed in several big games and in European football as well, we're going to be in a big problem again. Because Dorgu's got to work. Dorgu has to work. Because if it doesn't work, we haven't got anyone else. Because if Malacia goes out the door, what people don't realise is if Dorgu does well, which we all hope he does, and we need it to work, 30 million has gone on that player. If Dorgu does work and it is a success, which we all hope and pray it is for Manchester United fans and supporters across the globe, then my argument is if we send Malacia on loan, which apparently is now going to happen, we are now going to try and force Malacia out of the door, which looks like is possibly the better option for this football club. Again, I wouldn't do that because what happens then if Dorgu's playing all this football and the amount of minutes he's having to play because he realises, oh shit, I'm basically the only decent left back at this club. Where's Luke Shaw? We basically need to call a search party. Malacia isn't even involved in the first team. I'm going to have to keep myself fit. I'm going to have to be as fit as a fiddle. Because if I'm not, and I do my knee, or I do my ankle, or if I do my hamstring, I'm in a big, big problem here. Because then Man United fans and supporters, leave it out there. Man United, we're going to be in a big trouble again where we ain't got a left back. And if Malacia goes on loan or he gets sold, then for me, again, we then have to go and sign a left back in these last few days. Because we can't send Malacia on loan because Luke Shaw is still injured. And Manchester United must have some hope and confidence that Luke Shaw is going to return a lot quicker, sooner rather than later. But if Luke Shaw has a setback from injury in his recovery and we let Malacia go and Dorgu gets injured, we've then got no left back again. So we're basically stuck with Delo at left back again for the rest of the season. People don't realise Dorgu's got to come in straight away. He will be in that first name on that team sheet at left back because we need it. And I hope it does work. I hope he settles with Premier League love because it's a different league, a different experience. And obviously he is really, really pushed for this move. You've got to applaud a player like Dorgu's quality, which I hope is going to be recognisable because if he starts making mistakes and starts making errors, we're going to be back to square number one again thinking, we spent nearly 30 million on this left back. We spent all this money and this left back ain't good enough. Why didn't we look at better options? And I will have to come in and say, well, do you know what? You're right. This left back isn't great. This hasn't worked. We are back in the same situation again with Malacia and Shaw, where Dorgu isn't good enough. And in 3 to 4 years' time, we're going to be able to sell him because he hasn't worked. And I hope for Dorgu's sake, I hope he realises the atmosphere, the tension is between a rock and a hard place. I hope Dorgu realises that the mission impossible that he's coming into to basically fix all this football club fucking problems is basically on him. He's got to turn this left back role into a role that is going to be no problems, no errors, no mistakes. Dorgu will come straight in because he's got no choice. Because he's a left back, it sorts the left back problem out. We shouldn't have been in this situation though. We should have signed a left back last summer and we should have kept Reguilon in January last year as well. Why Manchester United did not keep Reguilon, I will never know. Reguilon did fuck all wrong and we got rid of Reguilon. Reguilon should have been kept till the summer. We could have got quite a cheap deal with Tottenham to keep him on a permanent basis. They could have shifted Shaw, shifted Malacia out, and they could have brought a Dorgu in then, or a Nuno Mendes, or a Kirkes, or an Anton Robinson. that might have been a solution, but we've had to wait till 2025 of January. So we've basically waited a whole new year to basically bring a left back in. And the problem is, because we've been massively exposed with our left back problems, we've ended up having to push the big red button and bring in a signing and bring in a new player. And I'm actually quite good it's not a loan, because it could have got pretty desperate if Man United went and got a loan player. It would have looked pretty stupid if Man United went and got a loan player for the rest of the season and not a permanent one. That I would have been fuming with, because loan looks even more desperate than what it looks now. I will back a new signing and I will back the player, but I have got deep lining concerns over this, because I need a big name player at left back who's going to be the solution. Dorgu isn't going to sell shirts. Dorgu's not going to be one of those players that lights up the team. But he's had to come into a situation where United needed a left back sooner rather than later. And I really hope for Dorgu's sake this move works out, because I don't want to be sat here in the next few games, the next few matches thinking, what the hell have we done? Why have we brought this Dorgu in? Why have we signed a player from a mid-table team like Lecce? Like, no disrespect at all to any of their fans or any of their supporters. No disrespect is intended. But you are a mid-table Serie A club fighting relegation again from Serie A. You're basically competing with 4 better teams in Serie A. You're basically trying to survive, try and get mid-table football so you stay another season in the top division of Italian football. But when you come up against Napoli, Juventus, AC Milan, Inter Milan, you get found out. And Dorgu has been one of their best standout players. He was at the weekend. He was absolutely, apparently, cooking against Inter Milan. Cooking. So he must be a chef. He must be Gordon Ramsay in disguise. So if he's that good, then there has to be quite a lot of hope and promise. And Manchester United must have seen something in that player that thinks to themselves, well, do you know what? This solution's here. Dorgu is going to be the main problem fixer at left back. We know it's big money, and money you're going to have to hope's been well spent, because what if it don't work? What if this signing doesn't make Manchester United better team at left back? What if it makes the situation a lot worse? Are we going to end up in a situation where we end up having to drop him out the team because he ain't good enough? And it's going to take him time to adapt, and I get that, and we have to be behind him, but it's a big move for a 20-year-old Denmark international. And I mean, if he's already playing first-team football for the Denmark international team and Lecce as well, then that is a positive sign that there is something about this player that ticks all the boxes for Manchester United. But it just concerns me. That's the big concern I get. It is another Serie A signing. It's another play coming from Serie A. And if you look at the Premier League and Serie A, the quality and difference is night and day. Serie A can't compete with the Bundesliga. It can't compete with La Liga. It can't compete with the Premier League, because normally a lot of the big name teams run away with it in Serie A, and in the Premier League, it's quite a wide open space. And with the quality that's in Serie A compared to the Premier League, it's a kettle of fish. What I mean by that is there's better quality players in the Premier League than what there is in Serie A, because there's a lot of teams in that league that struggle because they've got a lot of players that no one knows really a lot about. And I don't know a lot about Dorgu, but he solves a problem, a solution at left back that has been needed for such a long time. And I just hope for his sake this works, because I don't want to be in a situation again saying we need another left back, Dorgu needs to be moved on. But I will back the player and I will back the signing. And obviously, we have to support him when he comes to the club. I think all of us fans, supporters are united in getting behind him and supporting him as a new player. Obviously, there'll be nerves. Obviously, there will be mistakes. But if it happens on a consistent basis where it's the same mistakes, the same errors that are costing this club, we could be in a solution where we are, again, back to square number one, where we need someone better than Dorgu. And again, he's got youth on his side. He's only 20 years of age. He's only 20 years old. He's only 20 years old. So at the end of the day, he's got age on his side. He's got the youth on his side. So hopefully he'll be able to adapt straight into the first team and make a kick-lifing start as a new Manchester United player. But again, Where's this 29 million come from? That's the big question. Where has this 29 million come from for Manchester United to get this player? Because all the lies about PSR, financial fair play, and sell to buy has been the biggest load of lies and the biggest load of bullshit I've heard in my life. Man United have got money. Man United should come out tonight with a public apology and apologise to the fans, apologise to the supporters, and give us a reason why they come up with excuses. Because quite clearly tonight, your excuses have got you a player. Your excuses haven't stopped you going getting a signing. So there is money there. Is a left back enough going forward for January? No. Man United need a midfielder and we need a striker. And if they can bring a player like Dorgu in, they do need to bring in a striker. That should be the next priority target for this football club, is bringing a goal-scoring striker to sort out the solution. That needs to happen in the next few days because the window shuts next Monday. We need a striker in before the end of this week or over the weekend. There's two options here. Nkunku from Chelsea, which I know a lot of fans don't want, or there's Matthias Tel from Bayern. I mean, both names don't really excite me and get me off my feet, but surely it would be better having one of those two up front than watching Xerxes and Højlund for the rest of the season. I know Nkunku's injury record stinks of toilet shit, and Matthias Tel has only announced that he wants to leave tonight from Bayern Munich. It puts Man United in a situation where it could give them advantage, but Bayern Munich want Nkunku, Chelsea want Matthias Tel. They might do a swap there. But I'm still hoping. I would take Nkunku, but his injury record stinks. But we need a goal scorer and we need it now. And all I can say is I welcome Patrick Dorgu to the football club. Welcome to Manchester United. Welcome to this family at Manchester United Football Club. We hope you feel appreciated. I hope we make you feel loved by all of us fans and Boyle supporters. I wish you all the best of luck in your future Manchester United career. I hope this move works out for you and your family. And obviously, we can't wait to see you make your debut officially for this football club in the next few weeks. So I'm going to leave this live reaction for Patrick Dorgu to Manchester United. Here we go for now. Remember to hit the like button, the share button. Please keep subscribing to the channel, United Red Devils 20 on YouTube. Share the video, hit the tweet button, hit the retweet button. Remember to always remember the notification bell. Put that bell on all times to receive dedicated and upcoming brand new content that we have got planned for you right throughout the rest of this year in 2025. Brand new videos, brand new shorts, brand new live streams, and much more brand new stuff planned for the rest of 2025. And we will officially be doing our look ahead for Man United Europa League game against FCSB tomorrow afternoon. We're going to get up early, got to go and do a few things tomorrow morning when I wake up. But we're going to be doing the preview and a look ahead for Thursday night's away game in Romania against FCSB for Man United on match day of the UEFA Europa League. Man United are one win away from the knockouts. If we beat them, we're through to knockouts automatically. We avoid a two-legged playoff. We'll do that look ahead early tomorrow afternoon so it gets it done and out of the way. Enjoy your Tuesday evening, whatever you're all doing. Stay safe, be nice, and be kind to each other. You're all legends, and I'll see you guys all on the next one.